on. The defense is clearly an upper third defense at least. And now you're going to add a guy who, when last seen on a football field, was among the greatest who ever did it. And even when he just kind of walked into the Patriots team last year, lasted that one game, but in that one game caught 4 passes, 3 first downs, and a touchdown. You're going to add that guy to Godwin and Evans? And all those, and whoever's healthy, and all the tight ends, including Gronk? It's a problem. I do think that an addition of a receiver as dynamic as AB can put a team who I thought that's a 10-win team. They can win a playoff game into the conversation, certainly, of they might be the favorites in the NFC.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to the Super Bowl. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to the Super Bowl. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to the Super Bowl. That's what the hell AB means. Now, do they need him per se? Listen, they've got an embarrassment of riches already. Chris Godwin's back. Mike Evans is there. Gronk is playing like Gronk over the last couple of games. You got to believe you. Is O.J. Howard out for the season? I don't think he is. I mean, listen, look, when you look at them with Fournette at your running back spot, with Ronald Jones as well, the reality of the situation is you add Antonio Brown to the mix. He's better than all of them. He's better than all of them.
And they're damn good.
And then you got Brady flat out balling. And let me tell you something right now. And this defense that Todd Bowles is running. Oh, my Lord. These brothers can ball. Tampa Bay Buccaneers going to the Super Bowl. I mean, it would be catastrophic for Bruce Arians. If they don't make it. And possibly even Brady, as you would say, if they don't make it. Because there's really no excuse. Don't worry about the helicopters. We good. Here's the reality of the situation. Antonio Brown.
They're coming for Max.
Last 6. That's right. They are coming for Max. They are coming for Max. For president. Listen, here's the deal. Last 6 seasons, that Antonio Brown played, minimum 101 receptions, minimum 1,284 yards. This brother is nothing short of spectacular. And even though he's been out for about a year and a half, I still expect him to come back and be spectacular. Here's where I got to give Brady credit where credit is due. And if things continue to go this way, Tom Brady's going to win league MVP. Tom Brady's going to win league MVP if it continues to go this way. Let me tell you why. These guys don't care about who gets to shine. That's leadership. That's leadership. Usually when you worry about having an embarrassment of riches, what happens is everybody wants theirs. New contracts coming up, new situation. Oh, come on, I got to get mine. Let me get my numbers. Let me get my shine, et cetera, et cetera. Nobody on Tampa seems to care about that. And if Antonio Brown arrives and he doesn't care about it,
it's a problem.
Oh, my Lord. If he doesn't care and he's the model citizen that Bruce Arians said he better be because he's only getting one shot, ain't going to be second chances for him. If he comes on there and he's a team player and he vibes with the culture that exists, we know it didn't exist last year. So there's only one reason it happened this year. It's because of Tom Brady. All of that's going to be taken into consideration. Tampa's going to go to the Super Bowl, and Tom Brady is going to be crowned league MVP. You can book it. If Antonio Brown shows up and he's not selfish, are they going to Super Bowl?
Oh, and the Super Bowl's in Tampa, so it gets even better.
Yeah, but we don't care unless there's a crowd.
Well, I'm just saying.
I mean, if you're playing in an empty stadium, that's not going to move me.
It's in his home stadium. All right.
Yeah.
Is it you watched the injury happen as a player, as a wide receiver, and you were kind of puzzled that it happened on that play, essentially the second play of the game?
Yeah, I was like, it didn't look egregious. Usually when a dude gets an ACL, it's like, you know what I'm saying? He's twisted, turn it. I was like, when did he hurt it? You know, maybe when he jumped up, I couldn't tell. I was like, it didn't buckle. You know, usually you see it. It's out front. So I was like, dang. When did he actually hurt it? Did he actually hurt it at some other time? Then all of a sudden it completely tore?
We'll find out. Straight Talk. It's time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Jay, what are your thoughts? Straight.
Well, first off, I feel horrible for OBJ.
Absolutely.
And we were talking about the timeline before we came on, Key. So if it takes you a year to come back from an ACL injury, now
typically a year.
Typically a year. So now you're talking about October of 2021.
No, I go into November.
November. Okay.
Yeah.
So I've had my ACL torn. It took me a year.
Because
so by the time
have the surgery till probably another week, right? Because of swelling and stuff like that?
Maybe. Or if you can get the swelling down, you can probably get it done next couple of days. But My thing is depending upon it, coming off an injury, kid, it takes you a while for your body to find that rhythm. So by the time you actually get to peak performance after an ACL, maybe another 7-8 months. So you're talking about him maybe being fully in control of how great he feels into the season, 2022.
And everybody reacts from a mental standpoint differently when they have injuries, right? I mean, we don't know how he recovers in terms of his mental state. Now, OBJ's been banged up before. He's had hamstrings. I believe he had a quad of some sort with the Giants. So he's been out of the lineup before, but nothing to the standpoint of a 12-month rehab. It certainly is going to be a part of a mental rehabilitation more so than his knee. I mean, the knee part of it, I've 100% believe in whichever doctor and whichever rehab center he's using to get him back right on the field. It's all about the mental state, though. How is he going to be from a mental standpoint when he's out there running or afraid to break or cut or do some things that he needs to do with his quicks? That's one thing that he's got to have back is his lateral quickness and his ability to go up and high point the ball. Some of the things that you've seen in a rare athlete. I mean, he's a phenomenal athlete. And on top of that, you look at the timeline and you look at his age. When that clock turns 30, they start looking at you differently. And I think he's 29 years old at this point. And so now you get to be 30 and into your 30 and a half to that 31. They start looking at you real different.
And we didn't get a chance to see it this year because Klay Thompson didn't play. But Klay Thompson had torn his ACL. He could have came back and played this year, but I guarantee you Klay Thompson could have came back and played towards the end of the year, but how he would have played at the end of the year as opposed to how he's going to play next season will be drastically different because he'll have that much more confidence in his leg. But Key, it transitions me to a point, this whole notion and narrative that is starting to build within the media right now that, oh, this is addition by subtraction for the Browns and that the Browns are a better team without OBJ because now, Baker Mayfield doesn't have to be fixated on him as a primary target. I heard Dan Orlovsky the other day on NFL Live say, well, look, the QBR number without OBJ on the field was 70, with him on the field was 73.6. Without him on the field for Baker Mayfield, it's 96.2. The completion rate with OBJ on the field, 53.8. With other receivers, 78.6. So all these numbers are skewing this against the Bengals. The Bengals give up 400 yards a game. All right, they allow you to score 27.7 points per game. It's going to look great against their secondary because their secondary's not good. I think we start to get into the meat of the season where the Browns need a big-time receiver to get them that target. I'm not saying Jarvis Landry can't do that, but still, you're going to miss him because he also takes so much attention away from people on the field.
Here's what I would say, Jay, to the numbers and to what people say. Yes, there is some truth to that by him not being on the field, the Browns are better. But let's clean that message up. Let's not make it – see, because what happens is they leave it out there and they hang it out, and people think that they're saying that the Browns are better because he's a distraction. So you got to remove that part of it. In terms of on the field, they probably will be a better passing team because Baker Mayfield will be better. And what I mean by that is he's not looking at number 13 as his first read all the time, even though Kevin Stefanski may have Odell sometimes as the third option because Baker Mayfield has such a relationship with him that he's the third option. Baker Mayfield eyes goes to 13 instead of 80, who's the first option on this particular pattern, particular route, particular formation that they call. And that happens across the board on every single team in the National Football League and every single quarterback for that matter, is that when something is called, even Tom Brady, when it's called, you're so locked in on Gronkowski that you forget that the play really was called for Mike Evans. And so you drop back because you're so used to throwing to number 13 and in Baker's mind, he's looking at it and going, well, he's going to win for me. He's going to win for me. And it forces the throws to him. So when he's not on the field, I don't have to worry about OBJ and get back to a check down if need be, opposed to holding on to the ball, waiting for OBJ to break free, and then all of a sudden I'm sacked or I'm flushed out of the pocket because I got off my mark. That all is true. But what happens with the media is they're setting it up as if OBJ's a problem. They haven't done what I'm doing. They're not explaining it to you. Mm-hmm. They're just throwing a number out there and saying they're better off without him and not really telling you the full context of why there may be, not even the team, the quarterback may be better off without him. Does that make sense to you? Sense. Because they're not telling you that. They just want to make it sound like OBJ's a problem, and that's not the case. The problem is OBJ has a relationship with Baker Mayfield because he's a great player. And all great receivers have relationships with quarterbacks, so